Ochonogo, who went all the way down to the final of the long jump event. They also improved in their ranking. And for me, I think it's a good one for this Nigerian athlete, despite the fact that they couldn't make it to the podium. But at the end of the day, they had an impressive performance. Yes, we could say we had an impressive timing. Some of our athletes posed some impressive timing, and that's what has led them, of course, to this particular ranking. For me, it's a good one. We just hope that they build on this and continue to improve.
Nigerian athletes have improved on their ranking courtesy of participation at the Olympic Games, and it's interesting when you move, at least especially in terms of world ranking. So we say congratulations to Gazi, congratulations to Favor Philly, Nekoche as well, and others who had improved because of their improved timing or performances at the Olympic Games. Yes, like we said, it was short of the podium finish, but again, it was worth participating at the Olympic Games. After all, the essence of the Olympic Games is participation, though we know that medals count to what it is as well. Talking about the Olympic Games and highlights and reaction, you are aware that in the course of the competition, an Algerian boxer, female boxer, had to be called several names because of gender issues. First, let's look at the history of it, or the background of it. The International Boxing Association, a year ago, had banned these two ladies, including the Algerian, for failing gender test. But the International Olympic Committee, who had banned the International Boxing Association, says that those tests were not correct, and that the Algerian girl in question was born as a girl and not a male, and so they had no right to ban her, and so she was allowed to compete. I remember that our very first match at the Olympic Games, where she punched, I think, our opponent from France, and broke her nose, and she had to call off the match because she said she was getting, the punches were harder and not what she expected, and so she called off. But then she continued, and she won gold at the end of the day. She only arrived her hometown a few hours ago to a tumultuous welcome, and it's still evaporating. But according to her, she's thanking God that at least all the way she was drawn, that she was able to make gold and made her country proud, and saying that people should not bully her at all.
For me, I think she's correct. If you take a look at it, it seems as if a lot of persons were trying to bully her, a lot of persons were trying to take what belongs to her. She's actually she's a female, just like who got a report.
She was born and raised as female, right?
So why stopping her from participating in the female events? It's not her fault that her chromosome, of course, was a little bit, or is a little bit stronger.
Testosterone level?
The testosterone level was a little bit stronger than her opponents, in this particular Olympics game. So for me, I think for her participation is fair. For the boxing body, of course, to allow her to participate, for me is very, very fair. And you shouldn't just blame her. We've seen this happen to so many athletes, but at least they were able, of course, to overcome her. And hers, of course, is also an encouraging one. So for me, I think there shouldn't be discrimination. This athlete should have equal participation, in as much as you're fit for that particular event, in as much as you're also fit for. I think for me, there should be no discrimination, and for me, it's a good one. I think she was able to put herself together to see how she can get past, all of those criticism, and of course get down to the final to get good for herself. It was really an impressive performance.
Well, the people of Tiaret in Algeria are happy to have her back home after a spectacular performance at the Olympic Games. She broke the nose of one of her opponents, and of course thereafter continued up to the final, and here she is celebrating. She says she will. She said something that the media became of interest to me. He said officials and people around the world, because we had people like Edmund Musk, remember, people like what's his name now, the U.S. presidential candidate
Joe Biden,
Trump. Donald Trump, all saying that she was male, and he said that people should not try to mix politics with sports. Do you agree with her that this was a combination, let's say, an admixture of politics and sports?
Yeah, so for me, I think when you take a look at it over time, politics and sports has always, come together, especially when you when you look back, to what happened between Russia and Ukraine. You understand how some of their athletes, tennis players, even footballers, have to suffer just because of that particular, crisis. And this time around, we've seen, sport, also politics also coming in down there in sports. And for me, I think it shouldn't be that way. There should be different direction, of course, for this discipline. And for me, I don't think we should always try to see how to bring politics to sport, because somehow it affects the athletes. At the end of the day, it is the athlete that do suffer. Take a look at what is happening to Ukraine and Russia at this point in time. Most of the athletes even participating in the Olympic game didn't actually, they didn't carry their flag. And for me, what's the essence of participating in the Olympics when you're not representing, your country? So some of these athletes, are really, really affected. Some of them even opted out from participating in the Paris Olympic Games. So for me, I think there should be a way that the organizing body to see how to take away politics, from sport, because at the end of the day, it is the innocent athletes that go all the way to suffer the consequences.
Sports and politics should be separate, and this is the advice of the Algerian who just won gold medal, saying that there's no need to mix the two because it does not help anyone after all. Well, let's continue to look at a little bit of more reaction from the sports Olympic Games that got concluded last weekend. Kingsley, are we ready? Are we ready for America 2028 or Los Angeles 2028?
I think that's a very big question, Mr. C. We're talking about if we're ready. I don't think we're ready yet, because we're just coming back from the Paris Olympic game. Nothing yet, has been done. I think the minister is just trying to probe how the 9 billion naira they spend, of course,
Yeah, but how long does it take this? I want to see action. We want to see, okay, committee set up and they start to work. There are recommendations who will have to be implemented by different sporting federations. Yep. This is the way we often do. Every time we come back for a tournament, when people are saying, oh, why didn't you win? It's okay, this is what you're going to do. And it takes time. You should have started even before the arrival of the contingent from Team Nigeria from the games. But I think we are talking too much. We must start to do something. Well, that's what I know. But well, so people say, what do I know? But we are traveling on the same road we've passed in the past 70 years. Yeah. Every time we come back, like I said, we've been to about 18 Olympics games now. And out of this, knocked out of the Cincinnati Open, which is the main tournament just before the US Open. And this is shocking. And we found him in a state where we haven't seen him before, hitting his racket, losing to who? Gay Morfields, 37-year-old. We haven't seen, do I say, the young Spaniard react the way he reacted in this match in Cincinnati a few hours ago.
For me, I think it was a little bit frustrating for the man. I remember, of course, has been an impressive tournament for him, from the Wimbledon down to the French Open. And now we saw him at the Olympic Games, where he also participated in the US Open. Hasn't really been a bad season so far for Carlos Alcaraz, but I think what he needs at this point in time is just to maintain that level of consistency, that winning mentality. That's what, of course, I think can take him up there. It's just a frustration, but I think he can possibly bounce back from this defeat.
Carlos Alcaraz can bounce back from the defeat, and we just hope he can get it, because these things happen, and when it happens, you should find a way of getting at it. He won the silver at the Olympic Games, and I don't understand why he's so frustrated, to the point of hitting racket. This is the first time we are seeing him, and he said, in his own word, this is his worst match in his very short tennis career.
Yeah, it was match, and he was playing against an opponent that is older than him, a little bit experienced than him. When you talk about time, but when you talk about tactics, somehow you can give it to Carlos Alcaraz. It could be very frustrating, losing back-to-back, loss in the Olympic final, which of course he needed, and coming back to the Cincinnati to lose again. I think somehow it can be very frustrating, for a player who is very much optimistic of getting something. So for me, I think he should settle down and see how he can be able to bounce back, and get himself stronger. The US Open is just by the corner. I will hope he can definitely get in there and be able to prove himself once again.
Carlos Alcaraz losing the CC Masters, or yes, Masters, because 1,000 points was at stake there, but he's lost it. He continues to maintain his number 3 position in the world of tennis. He lost 4-6, 7-5, 6-4 to Gay Morfields of the United States of America, who is 37 years of age. It is not only this one to go.
Yeah, we're looking forward to see how, of course, the draw is going to be. We understand, of course, those that are well ranked, there's that chance of having an easy opponent, yes, at the end of the day. So we'll just see how it goes. The US Open is going to be an interesting one, and I think Djokovic will be there. Yannick Sinner, he has not been impressive for a few tournaments now, and Carlos Alcaraz as well. These are the guys, of course, that have been up there trying to, because kind to push things hard in the ATP. But in the WTA, Iga Swiatek, a little bit of consistency we've also seen from her for some time. You talk about Ons Jabeur, everyone rooting for her to win a Grand Slam. She has not really stepped up as well this season. Another lady is Arina Sabalenka, fighting to with Iga Swiatek. We're looking forward to see once again in this particular one. Coco Gauff is one lady everyone has been expecting now to put up some high level of consistency, but she's up today, tomorrow she's down. We're looking forward to see what she'll be able to come up with this one. So it promises to be an interesting last Grand Slam of the year, and we look forward to see what the players, of course, will be showcasing at the end of the day.
Time for us to take a break this weekend. We'll definitely be back with more exciting sporting stories for you because the UFA, that is Ultimate Fight Championship 305, is in view this weekend, and of course a Nigerian is involved in that one. This is the war, for me, I dubbed the war of Africans at the very best in Ultimate Fight Championship. Beyond that, the football season is back, and I can tell you this weekend we've seen some interesting development. Kicked off with Real Madrid winning the Super Cup, and I've seen Paris Saint-Germain as well in France showing their quality, not forgetting Manchester United and Liverpool in early wins for the season. When we return from a break, we'll bring you up to date on what to expect in the football season for 2024-2025. Stay with us.
Well, he'd love to be immortality as an athlete. 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
Welcome back. It's Sports Extraordinary Weekend edition here on Atlantic Television. This weekend has been interesting. We've told you about the reactions from the Olympic Games, where so far Nigerians may not have won medals, but they have improved on their world rankings at the Olympic Games, going by the latest ranking result released. And beyond that, we told you about the Algerian that dominated in the female boxing, returning back to our home Chiara in the Algeria to a tumultuous welcome, despite mixing, I say, the world mixing sports with politics in our own estimation. And let's get you some more stories. Kingsley, the Ultimate Fight Championship 305 is built to this weekend to be to take place in Perth, that's in Australia. And interestingly, it's been dubbed the Battle of Africa because two Africans are in for this middleweight belt. It's South African, this cruise those places is in there, and of course Nigerian, New Zealander, Israel Adesanya is in as well for the Ultimate Fight 305 that is on stake. It's looking very interesting. They've had a pre-match, and we saw Israel Adesanya crying after being insulted in his own feelings by the South African.
For me, I think Adesanya is coming back with full force. The man is very angry. Don't forget, he went on sabbatical after he was beaten by Alex Pereira twice. That was the second time Alex Pereira defeated him, and he decided to go on sabbatical. I think the man is now
12 months sabbatical.
in the 12 months sabbatical. He's now rejuvenated. He's now coming back with full force. A lot of anger. If you take a look at Israel Adesanya, there's a lot of anger on him, and that tears, of course, I think the tears came with anger, and he's trying to unleash everything he has actually accumulated on the ring. And I tell you, it's not going to be an easy one this time around. And for me, Israel Adesanya has a lot, of course, in his bag to offer. It promises to be an exciting one, looking at the fact that both fighters are looking forward to get something for themselves. Adesanya trying as much as he can to regain back his glory. He has actually fought 24 fights, and out of those 24, he has lost twice to Alex Pereira, which of course is very, very angry at the moment and looking for a trilogy against the man. But first, he has to get past, of course, his South African opponent this weekend before anything, of course, could go on at this point in time. So for me, I sense a lot of anger, in Israel Adesanya, and he's ready, to unleash it this weekend. We're looking forward to see Israel Adesanya, of course, bouncing back in a strong way this time around.
Well, Adesanya crying and then shedding tears in that pre-match. We saw him, of course, he was saying that he wants to get the belt from places and take to Nigeria first before, taking it to South Africa. And it was the reaction that followed from that statement that caused the tears, because Plessis did say that is it that he's coming with the servants, and he thought he was, in his own opinion, that making reference to his mother and his father. His father being, according to him, he's had to, go with his father to clean banks, and the mother was going to school to train as a nurse. So, but he believes that this will be sorted out in the next few hours this weekend. They will know where the belt will be going. But he insists that he will take the belt first to Nigeria. Then from Nigeria, he will pass over, just stop over in South Africa, and for South Africans to see that he's taking the belt from him. But it's the Battle of Africa in Perth this weekend in the Ultimate Fight Championship 305. It promises to be very thrilling. In October, there will be the biggest one, which is the Ultimate Fight Championship 307, because the deal has been signed. We'll bring details of that subsequently on our program, but quickly, I think we have to go to football now. Football this weekend is showing a lot. Kingsley. First, let's start from the Nigerian scene here, where the board of the Nigerian Premier League Football League has directed all clubs in the country to start operating functional, very functional websites within the next 1 month. This is disturbing there, because we're doing professional football league. How do you get professional if you do not have a functional website?
Honestly, I tell you, our clubs are not really professional, Mr. Siri. The MPFL teams are not really professional, because this is football. Football is worldwide. Football is global. Anyone can be able to search about your team, anywhere in the world. So in a situation whereby you don't have a functional website, how do people know about your team? How do people know about your players? How do people know about what the club, of course, is doing? How the club, of course, has performed for some time? So for me, in this, I think it's not really a welcome development that some MPFL teams do not have a functional website. It's so embarrassing. When we're talking about websites, sometimes with some of these MPFL teams don't even have a functional social media handle, like let's say Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the rest of them. They do not, have a very good presence online. And for me, it's very, very demeaning seeing, MPFL teams not being functional, online. It's very, very, abysmal. I think this development will actually help us to see more or to know more about this particular team, especially going through their website, and for them uploading some of the things they do on their website. That will help people, all over the world to be able to know this team. And I think for me, this is coming, in the leadership of Benga Elegbele. He's been trying to take the league digital. He's been trying to put the league, of course, into to the world. And I think for me, with this move, we'll be able to see our MPFL team having a very good profile, online. For me, this has not been done for some years now, and I think for me it's not a good one for teams in the Nigerian Premier Football League. And at the end of the day, we say we're running a professional league. We're saying we have a professional football club, but things that makes you professional are not there, and this is one of them. So for me, I think if they should be able to put up this, it will go a long way in showcasing teams to the world.
Well, it's no doubt that we need to operate in a professional structure, and the website is key because anybody can get information from the website about your website. But how do you expose, or do I say, become a public if you don't have a functional website? How do people know what you do? And I think this is even for marketing reasons, it's business point of view. It is, and the club side needs to be alive to this. You don't need to be sanctioned for you to operate a functional website because it is in the interest of the club sides. After all, well, football is not yet started for the Premier League is not yet started here in Nigeria because we're still it's still on holiday. But across Europe, it has started. But just before we go to how it has started in Europe this weekend, Kingsley, there is action in the continental level, both Champions League and Europa. Do I say CAF Confederation Cup? In the Champions League, we have Rangers International, Remo Stars. They will be in action this weekend, and Academy Warriors and Eyimba 2 will be in action at the CAF Confederations Cup. We will not be looking at the matches per se. There's something that's happened, and it's happening for the very first time in Africa, that these preliminary round matches, will be very profitable to the club side. In the past, we've seen club side just participate for the reasons of qualifying to the quarterfinals, to the group stages. But now, CAF, in its own wisdom and in its own marketing sense, is giving $50,000 to each of the club sides that participate in the preliminary rounds of matches ahead of the group stages in the CAF Champions League and, of course, the CAF Confederations Cup. So, $50,000, that's quite a novelty and a lot of money to prepare for the group stage where more money is expected to come. I think the CAF president, Mosepe of South Africa, seems to be getting it right. It's never happened before that a lot of money is put into the preliminary rounds of the competition. You just play and hope that you qualify for a group stage. Yeah. If you don't qualify, it's at your own loss.
For me, I think it's a good initiative, from CAF this point in time. They understand the fact that most of these teams, they spend a lot in traveling to other countries, of course, to, go take up these matches. They understand how much, of course, it takes at this point in time, especially when the economy of the world is getting to this level. So for me, I think it's a good initiative from CAF in supporting the teams participating in the continental games. And we hope that, of course, the Nigerian teams will also benefit from this particular one. In fact, they're only beneficiaries of this one. And I think for me, it will go a long way for them to be able, of course, to take themselves, to honor their away games this time around. For me, I think it's a very good initiative from CAF.
Very good initiative from CAF, $50,000 for all the teams that are participating in the preliminary rounds of the competition. Of course, when you qualify to the group stage, more money. Yeah, more money, of course, will come when you qualify to the group stage. You have about $700,000, for getting to the group stage, alone. And not just only the group stage. When you get to the quarterfinal, you have about $900,000. Same thing to the semi-final, so you have about $1.2 million, and for the runner-up you have about $2 million, and for the finalists, those who will, of course, win, will have about $4 million, and that's a very huge amount of money from CAF this time. I think we'll try the most we can, of course, to get it right down here in Africa, and we hope that the Nigerian teams will see how to benefit from this huge amount of money. Rangers International, Remo Stars, what are you waiting for? There is $4 million to win if you win the CAF Champions League. And of course, for those who are in the CAF Confederation Cup, Eyimba International and Academy Warriors, what are you waiting for? You have $2 million to win at the end of the day, besides the primary money you get building up to the final. So quite a lot of money involved in football, I must tell you. And talking about football reminds me of the senior women's football team of Nigeria, the Super Falcons of Nigeria. They may not have gotten to respectable level at the continent and of course across the world this season, but they just have maintained their 36th position in the world of football.
Yeah, I think for me that maintenance is due to the fact that they played higher ranked teams in the Olympics, where they played against Japan, they played against Brazil. These are top teams, and that's why they were able to maintain that ranking. They lost all 3 games in the Olympics. For me, it's really an abysmal one. We expected them at least to have gotten a win. A win, of course, would have probably taken them up down there, of course, in the ranking, but maintaining the 36th position and remaining #1 in Africa. And for me, I think if time is not taken, the Super Falcons of Nigeria will be taken from that #1 spot in Africa, because we're gradually diminution. We're gradually going down when it has to do with, performance. So we have to up our game. South Africa that are currently behind us. Morocco are also there. So I think
Zambia as well. Zambia and Ghana.
Zambia and Ghana. So for me, I think they should be able to step up and see how they can be able to take their position once again in Africa and in the world.
Talking about the world reminds me that United States of America is the #1 place team in the world right now. Kingsley, who is fully United States of America in the second and the third position?
Yeah, England, of course, are second due to also their performance so far. We've seen, especially in the World Cup, Spain are third, Germany are fourth, Sweden are fifth, and Canada sixth, Japan are seventh, Brazil are eighth, and the Democratic Republic of, Korea are ninth, and France are 10th. And these are how, of course, the rankings, of course, went down this time.
Well, that's it. Let's just before we go to Europe, something pressing has happened this weekend, and it has to do with the vituperations of John Mikel Obi. He's saying that the Nigerian football, as it's presently run, is full of corruption, and he thinks that the government should intervene. This is harsh, and of course, very hard to hear. If the ear is that of the members of the Nigerian Football Federation.
Honestly, when I look at that statement, I understand that he's talking from experience. He's one man that have been there. He's been in the team for so long, and he has also rubbed shoulders with some of the members of the Nigerian Football Federation. So he truly knows what is happening in the glass house. I think things are not done properly, Mr. Siri, if you ask me. If you take a look at the way the NFF owe their coaches' salaries, you take a look at the fact that sometimes players complain for match bonuses. Okay, appoint a coach in time is actually a problem. Or really complain that they don't have money to pay coaches and all of that. But sometimes they receive FIFA grants, and all of that. Money comes in from different angles. What are they use this money for? Mikel Obi just said that they actually bring out a little amount of money to run the federation, while they keep the huge amount of money in their different pockets. For me, I think things are not done very well. This same Mikel Obi, in Rio 2016 Olympic, he was the one who dipped his hand into his pocket to sponsor the Olympic team, for that particular, game. And these are things that have been happening. How can an individual, a player who came to play for his national team, dip his hand to sponsor? You say, yes, maybe it's patriotic and all of that, but that is not the way it's supposed to be done. And for a very long time now,
do you think his money has been returned to him?
I've never heard that. I've never heard it has been returned to him, up till now, as it stands. So for me, I think he has been there. He has seen this thing with his eyes, and he understands how things have been done. And that's why he's coming out, of course, to say what he's saying at this point in time. So the NFF should be able to step up. We're talking about the right people being in the right position. This is what we're talking about. Not those people that want to make money, see the NFF or see the glass house as a room, to be able to accumulate more money to themselves. We should be able to see how to fix the right people who have the knowledge, people who have the understanding of the game, who have what it takes to be able to run a federation, to be there. Not people who have interest in the money, and at the end of the day will continue to have poor results out there when it has to do with some competitions.
Well, yes, I'm very sure in the days ahead and months, this will be a very subject of fierce discussion, because he's come out to be very direct in his accusation, and let's hope that government will take a heed and try to investigate the activities of the Nigerian Football Federation, especially concerns with financial delays. Well, this weekend is one where Nigerians too should be happy for one of our own. Samson Siasia, I remember him banned for about 5 years in the past for irregularities, has now been free to participate in football activities across the world. 57-year-old Samson Siasia, of course, Kingsley, served his 5 years for match fixing by FIFA. Now he's free to return to coaching again.
Yes, for me, I think it's a welcome development, good news, cheering one, of course, for Samson Siasia. Since 2019, the man has been away from anything football. And this time around, coming back, I think he should be able to put himself right, try to stay away from anything that will probably involve him in things that are not, of course, being given go-ahead, by FIFA or any football body, at this point in time. But good of a thing that he's coming back. And he's one man that have done a whole lot, for Team Nigeria. Remember him winning, I think, bronze and silver medal, I think, in 2008 and 2006, Olympic
He won silver in 2016.
2016 as well.
And In
So,
2008 and 2016, he was able to win bronze medal.
so for me, I think the man is one of the best we have in the country, and this is happening in a time where we're also looking for a coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. According to reports, I heard that the sport ministry has actually set him up to the NFF to see if they will actually work with him as the new Super Eagles coach. But we'll keep our fingers crossed on that to see if that will come to reality at the end of the day. For me, it's too early for Samson Siasa to man that position as the Super Eagles coach. He's been away from the game. What has been, they should be able to know, has he been following? We understand, of course, he can't go to improve, his license and all of that. Maybe take a refresher course and all of that. But for me, I think before then, he should be able to take himself back and look if he can be able to manage the team before probably going down there to see, because it might be a very tough one or a big job for him to carry on. But we'll see what the NFF will say at the end of the day.
It's only by shameful to say that the Nigerian Football Federation do not have a coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria with just about 3 weeks or so to a very crucial qualifier, and yet they do not have a coach. And thinking of bringing back Samson Siasia as the head coach of the team, who has been away from football-related activities in the last 5 years, will be, in my own opinion, not the best thing to do. But what do I know? Let's quickly go across now to Europe. Kingsley, European football is back, and I know a lot of Nigerians follow top-level European football. It started with they are unstoppable. I think this is the 6th time they are going to win this one.
Yeah, 6 Super Cup titles after they won against Atalanta this weekend. For me, I think it's been a rosy one for Real Madrid, and we should be looking forward to, of course, see them doing better this season, because from what we've seen so far, they are very much, star-studded. Take a look at up front where they have the likes of Rodrigo, they have the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Junior. In midfield, also very much intact, where they have the likes of Tchouameni, they also have Vardy, and the defense, they're also very good. So they are very much star-studded this time, and I think other teams should be aware of them whenever, of course, they have to miss them, because they're looking very much, formidable. Impressive performance we saw for Kylian Mbappe, who made his debut, winning the European title, of course, for the first time in his debut, for Real Madrid. I think for me, it's a good way for him to start with his new side. We're looking forward to see more from Real Madrid this season.
Real Madrid kicked off the European football season with a win over their counterparts from Italy, Atalanta, and winning the Super Cup, and that's gives a lot of accolade to especially their coach, Carlo Ancelotti, who now clearly is ahead of all other coaches in the world in terms of trophy wins. Well, it's not. Yes, after the Super Cup, there's yet another opener in European football, which has to do with the preliminary rounds of the UEFA Champions League and, of course, Europa League as well. But because of time, we will just take one biggest happening around those competitions, especially in the Europa League Cup competition, where Ajax, qualified for the next stage of the competition after a win over Panathinaikos. Yes, it was a win in the preliminary rounds, but it made the headlines because of the number of penalty shootouts that was involved in that one. There was clearly 34 kicks in making that led to the qualification of Ajax after conceding a late goal that made it 1-1. In the first leg in Greece, it was 1 goal, in favor of Ajax. But the team from Greece, Panathinaikos to be specific, scored a late winner, making it 1-1 after full time and extra. So they had to go into, another time, they had to go into, extra time. And Kingsley, it didn't produce any goal, so penalty had to separate them. And they had 34 penalty kicks, 13 in favor of Ajax, and 12 in favor of Panathinaikos. So one difference there. I think there was 5 penalties saved by
Ajax goalkeeper.
Ajax goalkeeper. That was spectacular. And in fact, I'm not sure there's any other match in Europe that has had as many as 34 penalty kicks to separating the two sides.
It was a very intense encounter. And of course, Ajax, they were able to show themselves, of course, in the penalties, especially the goalkeeper, talking about Remco Perseva, had 5 saved, in that penalty shootout, and was able to score one as well. One of the penalties he also scored. I think for me, the goalkeeper was very, very instrumental for Ajax, for that particular victory. And of course, we're looking forward to see what Ajax will be able to do. We understand that Ajax are gradually, coming down to that struggling state due to the fact that they've actually sold some of most of their players.
Yeah, it looks like that's their business. They just recruit young players, train them, expose them, and the next thing they are raking in money by sales.
Yeah, they've made a lot of money when it has to do with player sales, and Olu should be looking forward to see if they can be able also to grow more.
The same coaches as well.
The same coaches.
Current Manchester United.
Yeah, Mashi Delete is also there. I think Mazuri is also there as well for Manchester United. So I think they're just there, train these players, make money, and they always challenge, of course, when it has to do with the Eredivisie title. They always challenge to always win. I think for me, we take a look at the way they manage the team, not necessarily maybe to champion Europe, but at least the league and as well the aspect of making money.
Well, let's hope that they will do what is right. But Ajax that entered into history books there as a team with the most penalty kicks in qualifying for the next round in the premier stage of the UEFA Europa League. We have to run out now, but the football, like we said, is back in Europe. For Nigeria especially, the Premier League is here. In the first game, Manchester United pipped their opponent by 1-0, and of course, that goal scored by one of the new players to the team. We've seen Liverpool as well in the early win of the season. Kingsley, how has it been? Apart from the Premiership in England, across Europe as well, we've seen some actions in Spain and some action as well in the in the French League One, where Paris Saint-Germain has won.
Yeah, especially in the French Ligue 1, we've seen Paris Saint-Germain, of course, playing in the absence of Kylian Mbappe after so many years now, and they were able to beat Le Havre 4-1 in that encounter. We saw Ousmane Dembele getting about 2 goals in that game, and
it's something interesting in that fixture. We saw 3 goals in the last 5 minutes of the match that ensured that Paris Saint-Germain won Le Havre.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's really an impressive one. They're not trying to live life now without Kylian Mbappe. And for Lewis,
Kylian Mbappe reminds me that he scored that goal in his first match and won his first trophy for Real Madrid.
Trophy.
He has never European trophy. He has never won when he was playing for Paris
Saint-Germain. And that's why he was pushing to, of course, to leave, because knowing that if he leaves down to Real Madrid, he stands the opportunity of winning more European titles for himself. Of course, you understand the fact that the UEFA Champions League is not far from Real Madrid any season. So he had a chance now to win the UEFA Champions League. He has already won the Super Cup as well. Even the Club World Cup, we'll understand maybe he might also get an opportunity. So for me, I think it was a good move for Kylian Mbappe, if you ask me. But for Paris Saint-Germain, I think they're trying to build and live life now without Kylian Mbappe. And for me, it's a good way to go. They've not signed anybody to replace, of course, Mbappe when it has to do with signing a big-name player. And I think Luis Enrique is trying to do with what he has to see if he can be able to achieve the purpose of Paris Saint-Germain, which is winning the UEFA Champions League.
Interestingly, Paris Saint-Germain, in the Premier League, followed by Nigeria, Manchester United has shown the way. Liverpool as well have shown the way. What do we expect from the Premier League this season?
I think good way to start for the big teams in the Premier League. Manchester United, Liverpool. A little bit of struggle for Manchester United, but we're still able at least to get that lone goal from their new signing, talking about Joshua Seski, putting up that impressive performance as well. Eric Ten Hag side, I think they still have a lot, to do. We understand they have injury worries. Eric Ten Hag is still trying to see how to manage his team due to a lot of his players, of course, being injured. But I think it was a little bit of an impressive outing for them. They should be able to see how to maintain this level going forward. For Liverpool, with their new manager and in slots, getting a win option this time. For me, I think expected. You don't expect Ipswich Town to come, of course, trust Liverpool, who has been in the game. They're just coming from relegation, and I think they need a little time to gel. At least maybe 3 to 4, 5 games, they'll be able to maybe get that spirit of the Premier League back and see how to challenge. But for me, I think it's a good way for the big teams, Manchester United and Liverpool, to start the season.
Well, football is back across Europe, and in Africa here, they're still into the qualifying or just preliminary rounds of the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. But we'll have to wrap up the show. There's more to come for your way next weekend. But before we go, we'll bring our sports extraordinaire for this weekend. And of course, I couldn't have been any other than the goalkeeper of Ajax, who was able to save 5 penalties.